Okay, this is the Reteach video for part 2 of the test on representing constant rates of change. Be sure to record your answers to the video questions on the computer and on your answer sheet. Okay, number 7. Samajay and his family drove 6 hours every day during a road trip. Which graph best represents y, the total number of hours driven, in x days? So they tell us that his family is driving at a rate of 6 hours every day. Okay, so if it's 6 hours every day, then every is our unit rate word. And that tells us that for 6 hours, he's going to go 1 day. Or for 1 day, he will drive 6 hours. So I'm going to check each of the graphs and see what do they say for 1 day. And I notice that days is my x on each of the graphs. So I find the 1, and then I travel up to see where it hits the line. So on the first one, it hits the line at 12. Well, that is not the same relationship. I'm looking for 6 hours. On my second graph, I start at 1 and move up, and it falls between two numbers. So between 8 and 4 would be 6. So B should be my correct answer, but I'm going to go ahead and check the other two. Now C tells me that 1 is 6, but when I look at it, it's saying that he's going to travel for 4 days and still would have only gone 6 hours. That's not making sense. My graph should be increasing because as the days goes on, he should have driven more and more hours. So C is not a reasonable choice. D is decreasing, so already that looks wrong. And when I check the unit rate, sure enough, 1 is not lining up to 6. It's lining up to more like 5 or so. So D is not my correct choice either. So B is the one that is showing me 6 hours per day. Number 2. Ms. Anderson makes cookies for the school bake sale. She uses the equation C equals 0.75x to determine the cost C for X cookies. Which best represents the constant rate at which cookies are sold at the bake sale? So when I'm looking at a unit rate and matching it up to an equation, I can see from my equation that my multiplier should be 75 cents. So when I look at C and B, they don't have 75 cents, they have 3. So that can't be correct. I can eliminate B and C already because they have the wrong numbers. Now they tell me in my problem that X should be the number of cookies. So this right here is representing cookies. Okay, so when I look at A and D, I'm going to find the unit rate word and circle it. Here's per. And what comes after that word should be what's multiplying the 75 cents. So on A, they have dollars. Dollars is not what my equation is multiplying. My equation is multiplying cookies to get dollars. So A is not correct. Okay, this would be the equation of 75 times the cost equals X cookies. That is not what we are doing here. D is 75 cents per cookie, so that would be multiplying the 75 cents times X, which is cookies, to get a total cost. So D should have been my correct answer. Number 9. A dolphin travels through the water at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour. Which representation shows the distance a dolphin can travel at this rate? So they're telling me, let me slide this down a little bit. So they're telling me that he's going at a rate of 25 kilometers per hour. So I should be multiplying 25 times the number of hours. Okay, so I'm looking for that in each situation. Is it multiplying by 25? When I look at B, that catches my attention first because I can see that this equation is clearly adding 25, and that is not what we are doing here. So B, I can eliminate. When I look at C, I see 25 and 1 on the graph, but it should be 25 kilometers per 1 hour. Okay, so this is telling me 25 hours for 1 kilometer. So that's backwards. So C is not correct. So that leaves A or D. So I need to check the numbers and see which one is multiplying by 25. So on D, if I do 5 times 25, Five times 5 is 25, and then 10 plus 2 is 12. Then I should get 125 kilometers. And my answer choice says 135. So this did not use the correct multiplier. So D is incorrect. Okay, so that leaves A. It should be A, but I'm going to check it. So from 2 to 50 should be times 25. And that's correct. 2 times 25 is 50. 4 times 25 is 100. 6 times 25 is 150. And 8 times 25 is 200. So A is my correct answer. Number 10. Caroline's cell phone plan costs $32 per month. Which table shows the sum of the amounts Caroline will pay for her cell phone plan over the next 4 months? So they're asking me which of these tables represents the relationship of $32 per month. So I'm looking for a table that's multiplying the month by 32. So when I look at F, 1 times 32 would not be 0. So F cannot be my answer. I look at G. 1 times 32 is not 8. So G is not it either. H, 1 times 32 is 32. So that's good. But when I look at the next one, 2 times 32 would be 64. And all I see is 36 here. So that the rest of the table is incorrect. So H is not it. When I look at J, though, 1 times 32 is 32, 2 times 32 is 64, 3 times 32 is 96, and 4 times 32 is 128. So J is multiplying by 32 for the entire table. J is my correct answer. Number 11. The table shows the relationship between a number of movie tickets and cost. Which expression can be used to determine the constant of proportionality? So we practiced this in class, and we practiced taking the y and dividing it by x. So I can see right away that A is subtracting. That's not what I do. And D is multiplying. That's not what I do. So it has to be either B or C. So I look at where did the numbers come from, because it should be the Y number on top and the X number on the bottom. When I look at a vertical table, the X is my input. So the first column is X and the second column is Y. So when I look at answer choice C, 8 comes from the X column and 46 comes from the Y. So it should be 46 divided by 8. Because I'm working backwards, I'm going reverse on the chart to figure out what the multiplier is. So 46 divided by 8 would be correct, not 8 divided by 46. That's not the same thing. So I'm going to check B now, which should be my answer. I have $28.75, and I see that here in the Y column, divided by 5, which is in the X column. So B is the expression that would be used to figure out that constant of proportionality. It would tell me what the multiplier was that was being used in the table. Okay, our last question on the test was number 12. It says a summer camp charges $25 per day. So there's our unit rate phrase, our rate of change. Write an equation that could be used to find the total cost, Y, for someone to attend the camp for any number of days, X. So if it's $25 per day, then I'm multiplying 25 times the number of days. So my table is multiplying by 25. So 0 times 25 would be 0 days. 1 day would be 25, because that's my unit rate there. 3 times 25 would be $75, and 5 times 25 would be $125. So my equation should be, they tell me to use X and Y, that Y equals 25X. And my unit rate or rate of change should be this phrase right here. So all you had to do was know that that was the rate of change. So $25 per day. And then last, you needed to graph that information on the table. Okay, so 0 days cost $0, so that goes there at the origin. 1 is 25. 2 is 50. 3 is 75. And 5 is 125. Okay. Oops, I put that in the wrong column. I could tell that it was in the wrong column because it wasn't lining up with the other one. So let me erase that one. And then put it the 5. Okay, and then I can connect those with a straight line. Okay, and that was all you had to do for question number 12. Make sure that you have completed all the video questions on your answer sheet as well, and you can turn that in to get your pass to take the retest.